Good evening, families. My name is Heather Deer, and I am the Director of Family Engagement here at William and Mary. Thank you for joining us in our October webinar series edition of our webinar series. Today, we're excited to be talking about all of the wonderful ways that students have been engaging in the voting process and learning how to vote in Williamsburg, and all of the great work that I've been seeing on campus every day as I've been walking through the Sadler Center, reading student happenings, and just learning more about ways that our students can get engaged in our community. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our panelists. I want to give them as much time as we have this evening. We'll have time for Q&A at the end. So if you do have any questions, please do submit those using the Q&A feature here in Zoom, and we'll get to as many as we have time for. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to the experts and say thank you again for being here with us this evening.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rich Thompson, and I'm an Associate Director in the Office of Civic Engagement. And I'm very happy to be with you all here tonight. And I'd like to introduce my colleagues that work with this program for our voter engagement program here at William & Mary, which is a nonpartisan group. And I'd like to start off with our student fellow representing the student group, Sam Houghton. Sam, would you introduce yourself and let everyone know what year you are and what hometown you are from and all that good stuff?
Hello everyone. My name is Sam. As Rich just said, I'm a student fellow with the Voter Engagement Committee. I'm a senior here at William and Mary, and I'm from New York City.
Tina, would you be so kind to introduce yourself and your role, and then Haley after her, please?
Hi, my name is Tina Reitzel. I'm the Director of Elections for the City of Williamsburg. If you have registered to vote, you've probably come through my office, and your voter notice has my name and signature on it. So I've been in the director position since 2019 here in the City of Williamsburg.
And I'm Haley Snap. I'm the Chief Deputy Registrar for the City of Williamsburg. A lot of students have seen me on campus. So hello, students. And hello, parents. Welcome. I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I've been working under Tina since 2019, and it's been a great experience here with the students.
Well, thank you, everyone. We have one other person who's still have real difficulty trouble locking in, Marianne Simpson, but her colleague, Denise Koch, is here from the League of Women Voters. Denise, would you introduce yourself, please? All right, well, I guess we will proceed, and then hopefully we can get back to them. And if not, our friends from the city of Williamsburg can fill in some pieces there that the league has been covering, working collaboratively with us. First of all, once again, our group, the Voter Engagement Committee here at William & Mary, is a nonpartisan information group made up of predominantly students, but also some faculty and staff members. I act as their advisor and really work with them, and also some of our other nonpartisan agencies, the Fair Elections Committee Group and the Voter Fair Elections Group associated with the Campus Vote Project and the All In Democracy Challenge. Currently, we've already hosted 12 voter information registration sessions on campus, and we have about a couple more left before we get into the last day to register to vote without falling into provisional ballot status, where I'll let our colleagues share more about that. We do the main thing we talk about is like providing base information and what it means to have that information as tools mainly. And we're not, saying, vote this, that, or the other, or vote locally. It's all about your choice and just giving the information to be empowered. We will be working with a campaign with our students in particular, like, okay, now you've registered to vote, what's next? And once again, we'll drill down with more tools and more specific information in that regard. And that way, I'm going to pass the baton off to Sam to let him give a little bit of an overview about what the students are doing, and also talking about what they've done and what they will be doing leading up to Election Day. And also talking about some of the things we may work on, after we finish this campaign season here for the general election. And the ball is yours.
All right, thank you, Rich. I've been a fellow with the Voter Engagement Committee since my sophomore year, and I work with the committee through the Fair Elections Center. I'm a democracy fellow with the Fair Elections Center. So that has given me access to a vast network of across Virginia and across the United States of other college students, other college groups who are working to promote voter engagement and civic education on campuses. This is a really important issue to me. And I joined because I feel like our elections are just healthier when more of our young people are engaged and informed and making decisions about their future. And so this semester, I mean, obviously it's a big year. So this semester we've really been pushing tabling, making sure students have access to their ballot, know their voting status, can register to vote, just know everything that is available to them. We've been partnering with the League of Women Voters and our representatives from the City of Williamsburg Registrar's office all semester. We have a few more tabling events coming up, but moving forward, it's gonna be the now what part, because elections are just one part of our democracy. There's so many other ways to stay engaged year round, and so in the spring we'll be focusing on hosting education sessions on campus to help students just stay informed and about their options to stay civically engaged going forward.
Great. Thank you so much, Sam. Right now, I want to turn it over to our league partners with League of Women Voters are having problems logging in. We apologize about that. So I want to turn the ball now next to our representatives from the city of Williamsburg to talk about our relationship, the things we covered, the key dates, and how we're trying to help students that wanting to vote both in state, out of state, and anywhere in the country. Ladies, would you take the ball, please?
Hello again. Thank you for having us tonight. The big date. We appreciate all the tabling and all of the voter engagement participation that we've had on campus. We will continue to push our important dates and deadlines. The most important one that's coming up right now is October 15th. It is next Tuesday. It is the last day to register to vote in Virginia. So you must be registered to vote by the October 15th deadline. If you are not, then we go into a provisional ballot status and what we consider same day registration. Your provisional ballot, you will register to vote, and your provisional ballot will be looked at the provisional meeting after the election. Because of Veterans Day holiday, it's actually 1 week after the election on Tuesday. So we are encouraging all students that wish to vote in the city of Williamsburg and want to vote here to be registered by the October 15th deadline. Those that want to remain at home or want to, wherever home is, whether it's in Virginia or another state, you can either go online to that locality's state website and get absentee information. If you're a Virginia resident, you can do that electronically online to request an absentee ballot. But any student that's on campus that's having issues and doesn't understand the process, we'll be happy to walk you through the process. You can call our office or catch us at one of the tabling events, and we will tell you how to register to vote or vote absentee from wherever you wish to vote absentee from. If you are registered to vote in Williamsburg, I will say please check your registration after the October 15th deadline, especially if you have done a DMV transaction in Virginia. Our system is linked with the Department of Motor Vehicles. So if you update your driver's license or you update your car registration or any of that at the DMV, it may pull you back to wherever home is. So please make sure that you're still continuing to check that after the October 15th deadline. Again, after that, it'll be after October 15th, it'll be same day registration. It is same day registration is a last effort in voting. It is a fallback, but it is not the proper method. We want you to get you voted and feed your ballot into the machine on election day. We have already started early voting. So if you are registered and you want to vote early, come on by our office. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. And then if you want to vote on election day, a majority of campus votes at Williamsburg United Methodist Church on Jamestown Road. And there'll be plenty of signs out there on election day. And if you are on the Richmond Road corridor, then you most likely are voting at the Williamsburg Community Building on Boundary Street next to the library. But if you're not sure where that is, you can either look it up online or contact our office. We'll be happy to tell you where your assigned polling place is. Haley,
Great.
do you
Thank
have
you.
anything else?
I think that's great. I think that's all great information. Haley, could you share a little bit about your perspective since you've done a lot of the tabling on campus and
Mhm.
what that's meant for you and the city and also the relationship with the league, if you'd be so kind?
Definitely. It's obviously grown as the years have gone by. I will always say it started off great and has only improved. Um, it's an enjoyment to inform students of their voting rights. Government class may not have gone over that in detail 12th grade year. So when it comes to actually registering to vote or voting absentee, a lot of that information comes from me. And I don't mean that facetiously, but a lot of questions are asked when it comes to out-of-state voters and how they have the right to vote here in Virginia. And, we have the laws that state that you may register at your college campus and, forfeit the right to vote, elsewhere. So informing voters of what they can and are able to do has been great with these students and as well as other constituents of the community. But being that point of contact and them feeling comfortable and asking questions that may be very unique to themselves, and trying to figure out those answers for them in order to get them a voted ballot is key. So it's been great and it only continues to get better.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Denise and Marianne, are you on and available to chat a little bit now and talk about the role of the League of Women Voters and what role you all played in supporting our program and William and Mary and the community as a whole, please? Still having some technical difficulties. Okay, well, we will keep moving along here, and then hopefully we can get you in a little bit later if we have time permitting. I want to go back to Sam. Sam, I wanted you to highlight, if you'd be so kind, some of the awards that the students have won and our programs won for our nonpartisan work, if you'd be so kind to share some of that information and talk about some of your predecessors that you worked with and what they've done since they've, been part of the program.
Yeah, of course. I was very lucky to join the committee. As when I joined, I was the youngest person, so I kind of had a couple of mentors who were able to show me what to do and were very encouraging and just generally helped me really improve my leadership skills, my organizational skills, my programming skills. So yeah, in 2022, um, we were one of the most engaged campuses for college student voting. I think we had uh, above an 85% student registration rate and voting rate, which is incredible for a college campus. It's really good. I think we're either number one or number two in Virginia currently in terms of student engagement. Um, and our action plan, which I worked on with previous fellows, Marley and Sophie and Seth last summer, has been recognized as a highly established action plan. So we've been doing a lot of great work, and as a senior, I'm excited that we've gotten a bunch of new people this semester, a lot of young faces. So I'm excited to see what they do going forward.
Yeah. And just a slight correction, in 2020, we were recognized as one of the top voter engage programs in the state of Virginia and the nation. And in 2022, we were recognized as one of the top programs in the state of Virginia with Mary Washington University. All great things, but the
Wow.
things that I'm really, all things to be proud of, but what I'm specifically proud of is the student piece where students get nominated for their nonpartisan civic work to promote the programs in that fashion on our campus. And we've had two student winners back to back, one Marley Fishburne and last year Sophie Kim. And that's something that personally means a lot to me, both personally and professionally, when I see these people of character stepping up, wanting to make a difference in regards to civics in our communities and for just the whole process as a whole. So again, the students are really the lifeblood of the program, and staff and faculty are there to support them. And it gives us a great honor to be there to work with them side by side, because what they do is they create points of inspiration. That's something I think is very special about this institution and William and Mary Ann, our community as a whole. It looks like Denise and Mary. Oh, Mary Ann is here. Mary Ann, can you log in and say hi and maybe follow up in regards to the league and the work you've been doing with us?
There you Can you hear me, Rich?
We can hear you, Mary Ann. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. It's clearly IT was not my forte. You can tell that. Yeah, just a couple of things. And Denise, jump in, please, at any point. I'm sorry, I've missed a good chunk of the discussion so far. So great thanks to Rich and Sam for setting this up, and especially to the parents and families tonight. Your students are just a delight to work with. So we couldn't be happier. They're thoughtful, they're intelligent, they're curious, and they're committed citizens. So it's wonderful. The league is 104 years old as an institution. We were founded after the 19th Amendment went through, giving women the right to vote. Here in Williamsburg, we are 62 years old as an organization. We're the second largest league in Virginia at just under 300 members. We are a nonpartisan organization. We don't support or endorse any candidates. As I like to say, we are process, not content. We work very closely with our two wonderful city registrars, who always help us ensure that our information is correct and timely. Voting is our primary objective, to ensure that all citizens have full participation and in all elections, and the ability to cast their votes fairly and transparently. So that's the league. And really what we're here to do, as I'm sure Haley and Tina have already said, is to provide options to students. We provide information, and out of that information, students can see their options, whether it's registering, whether it's being registered at home and wanting to stay with a local registration and look for an absentee mail-in ballot, or register in Virginia, or register in another state. We just want to give them the information so they have options, and then they can make a plan. And that's the most important part, is we want them to make a plan for voting. And there's all kinds. I'm sure our registrars have already talked a lot about that. We even have, thanks to Haley and Tina, the ability to talk somewhat about voting in other states, and especially to make sure that students understand that states control their own voting laws and regulations, and how important it is to recognize that different states have different timelines and different requirements for voting. So there's a number of different websites that I know Haley and Tina refer students to, and we refer students to if they want to know more about voting out of Virginia. We're thrilled to work on campus. As I said, we've done a lot so far. We've always worked closely with our registrars. We want to make sure that students have the ability, wherever they voted, to meet the registration deadline so that they can cast a non-provisional ballot. We want their ballots to be counted as soon as possible. Still recognizing that they will have opportunities even after the deadline to register and vote here in Virginia. Denise, anything you'd like to add? Can Denise get in?
I think she's in, but she's having problems with her microphone.
Okay. I'm sure Tina and Haley have already covered the deadlines and that sort of thing. Correct?
Yeah, but I think that's a great prompt on Mary Ann for us to go back to our partners with the city and see if there's anything else they'd like to add, and or Sam, before we turn things back to Heather for the Q&A part of the program this evening.
Terrific. Thanks, Rich.
I would like to add that, as Sam mentioned, there will be some more information in the spring on, opportunities and keeping voter engagement. Yes, November election is a big election. It is a state election. But not only will you be voting for your president, U.S. Senate, and U.S. House of Representative, here in Williamsburg, you'll also be voting for city council, and there is a proposed constitutional amendment, statewide constitutional amendment on our ballot. So it is important to get educated and understand what that voting process looks like and what you'll be voting on. But looking beyond that, we hear a lot of the students, I only vote in presidential elections. Looking forward past the presidential election next November is still going to be a huge election. It's the gubernatorial election here in Virginia with governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. So that is our next biggest election behind the president and vice president race. But your local candidates here have so much more say in your day-to-day activities and lives and what you do and how you're doing that. So voting for president and vice president is a huge deal, and it's very, very important. But your local elections are just as important. So beyond this election, please stay engaged. Even if it's not here in Williamsburg and you move on, find out that voting information where you're going and update your information.
Sam, do you have anything to add before we turn it back over to Heather?
No, I'm excited to see what questions people have.
All right, then. Well, Heather, we turn everything back over to you. I've turned my camera off because I'm having some internet instability. So just make you aware of that, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you. And thank you all for the information that you've shared so far and for being here with us to talk to families about the voter engagement efforts. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I walk through the Sadler Center every day, so I see all of the efforts that are happening on campus to really educate students about their options and answer their questions and engage them in this way. So I'm happy that we have the opportunity to talk about these efforts that families don't get a chance to see that are happening on campus. So if anyone on the call does have questions, you can submit using the Q&A feature here in Zoom, but I do have a few questions of my own that I think families would be interested in. So I think one of the first questions I have, and anyone can address this one, is what are some of the common misconceptions about voting that students often come to college with? So when they are here, maybe it's their first year in college, especially this is a big election, so maybe they haven't had the opportunity to vote in an election like this before. What are some of the common misconceptions that you all work to combat or overcome with students?
I can say that just registering in general is a process in itself that it might become a misconception because some people may automatically assume that they're registered, and through the DMV, we do have a process that automatically opts you in if you don't opt out and sends us a pre-registration when you first get your license at 16 here in Virginia. So that's one of them I feel like is actually having to fill out a form or to do something in order to be able to vote.
Yeah, I think also a lot, particularly first years who come in don't realize that they can vote in their college location, that they have choices, and it's wonderful to have so many choices when you first start out. So that's one too. Also that they can be worried about what kind of identification they could show, and their William and Mary ID is all the identification that they need on election day or for early voting.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's a question that I answered a lot this summer as families were preparing to send their students to Williamsburg. They were like, what do they need so they can vote? And I always happily say they just need that William and Mary ID. And when they get it, they are good to go. So I think that is a big one for sure. What role do you think parents and families can play in supporting their students' voter engagement? So maybe as they're calling home, they're FaceTiming and they're talking about it, what kind of conversations can families have with students to help them be engaged during this time?
Sam, you want to lead off with that one first, since you're the student?
Yeah,
Sure. I think it's just putting that little information, just giving that little nudge. It really doesn't have to be that much. When we're tabling, some students, they're not going to come and interact with us, but we still ask like, hey, do you have any questions about voting? Are you registered to vote? Even if they don't want to come and, take a few minutes and talk, it's just that little nudge, that piece of information, it stuck with them, and then, 3 days later, they're gonna be like, oh man, I got to go vote. It's not a lot, but it really helps.
I would have to say from the registrar and the office staff, for parents, it would be have the conversation with your students on making a plan and sticking to that plan, whatever the plan may be for you. If you're an out-of-state student and you have tuition assistance or military, and you know your home of record is somewhere else, and you need to keep it there, that's fine. We will work with you, but make a plan and stick with that plan. And that's a huge conversation that parents can help their students with is understanding the process. We talk to parents on the phone daily that call and want the education for their students, what they need to do and how they need to do it. And we're always happy to walk them through those processes. Sometimes, depending on the situation, it may not be a one size fits all. So for parents, just make a plan with your student and your child and just, follow through and say, hey, have you done this step or that step? And it's not even a nudge, but it's just, a friendly reminder, hey, the deadline's coming up. Let's get it done.
And
Yeah,
encourage them to ask questions for, to us or anybody on campus and, direct them to us because we will give them the information happily.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And for my role as an advisor and also working in the Division of Student Affairs, it's once again, it's about empowering the students with as much information as possible for them to make the decisions that they feel comfortable with. It's like I said, we don't want anyone pressure coming in from different directions. We just want to have base information. But one of the things that I think is very, very unique about William and Mary is like the pride about being leaders in society. And that really epitomizes, I think, a lot of the culture that we have with our students, that the students actually will seek out this information and want to be involved in the process. And I think that is something that is very special about this place and this institution and our students. And like I said previously, they create inspiration and it's something that inspires me to bring my best to give the students all the tools that they can have to make those correct decisions and also connect them to our amazing colleagues with the league and also the city, because they give the real information and the real facts so those decisions can be made smartly and wisely and without bias. So ladies and Sam, thank you. Thank you.
Now we do have,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm always so impressed with how thoughtful the William and Mary students are. Especially if they're from out of state, I have had so many will stop and say, I need to think about this. I want to do a little research. I want to see where my vote's going to count the most. And, I'll be back. But they're very thoughtful about casting that ballot. And that's impressive and very encouraging for a next generation. That's for sure.
They are, and I'm sorry I just got on, and I know Marianne has said most everything about the league, but it's been a delight for us to work with the William and Mary students. And the league is over 104 years old, and our big mission is to empower voters and promote democracy. And that's one thing, and I'm sure she mentioned that we do at our tabling. I mean, we talk to them about their options. All their options, voting either at the state where they came from, voting here, and just try to educate everybody. And it's just been a real pleasure to try to do that.
yeah. I think the beauty of a university environment is that this is a learning lab. So this is a really great opportunity for students to learn these skills that they'll use, hopefully, for the rest of their life, learning how to vote and to make a plan to go and vote and what happens when you move and you submit that change of address form. Go ahead and click, yes, I do want to update my voter registration. I just went through that process myself. So it's going to follow them everywhere. So this is a great space and time for them to practice these skills, to learn what it means to be able to understand the facts and learn the processes. So I know I'm very grateful for the work that you all do, and I know our families are as well. I did have one question that came through in the Q&A, a little bit of a logistical question. My son registered to vote in Williamsburg last year, but he changed addresses this year. I told him he needs to submit another voter registration application this year to reflect his new address. Is this correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Every time
Yes.
they move,
Yes,
every
yes.
time they move, you must change. And I know it may seem tedious from year to year, especially our students on campus for 4 years, but every time you move either on or off campus, you must update that address. If you don't, it will not, and you're already registered, it will not prevent you from voting, but you won't be able to vote until you update your address. So having that done before election day will save you a lot of time um, and a lot of stress of did I update it or not. So update it before the October 15th. Yes, it needs to be done.
We have 2 precincts in the city, and now we are required by state mandate and law to report by precinct. So, if you're in the wrong precinct, you're going to have to go to the other one on election day, or, it's very precinct based where you vote.
It's also it's good to know too, that if you have students who have moved off campus and gone into James City County or gone into York County, that the 3 registrars, chief registrars within this area work very closely together. And so a change of address from the city of Williamsburg to James City County will be pretty much seamless all the way through. So
it's a very short form. It's literally just their name, their new address. If they're on campus, we need your CSU box. They sign and the date that they moved. That's it. That's all the information I need. So it's very short. It's less than 5 minutes for them to complete it. We have them on campus at every tabling event. But you can also email me or call me at the office and I'll be happy to send it to you.
Yeah. And like I just mentioned too, I did just move. And when I did my USPS change of address form, it went ahead and just included it all in one. So making it easy on us who do have to update that voter registration. So
Yes.
And Heather, also, there's one more opportunity once students get back from fall break to register again on campus if they wanted to do that once they got back from break. So Sam, Marianne, Haley, why don't y'all give a little preview of those options there on the 14th?
yeah, what does that on-campus engagement look like on the 14th?
well, we'll be at the league and the city will be at Sadler on the 14th from 11 till 1:30. We like to get the lunch hour because that's when everybody comes to register. There will also be at the SWEM library from 5 to 8:30 on the evening of the 14th. But I know Haley will also be at the candidate forum again, 3 times.
The candidate forum, I will be set up at 4:30 before the candidate forum, during the candidate forum, and a little after the candidate forum to register, to fill out absentee requests within the state of Virginia, answer any election questions. I will have sample ballots. There's, pamphlets for the proposed constitutional amendment that's on the ballot. So come see me after you've talked to the candidates.
And that's at Sadler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's important to note that the applications that we've already got in, if your student is registering to vote and there's something wrong with their application, we have tried to reach that student. So please make sure that you're helping the student. We've had some issues with students giving parents phone numbers on their application, and that's fine. That's your choice. But if you're getting a text message or a phone call with a voicemail from the city of Williamsburg, we will identify who we are, with what information we're missing, and how to obtain that. If you have that information, please pass it on before the October 15th deadline so that we can get the student registered here. So for some reason, students are putting their parents' phone numbers on their application, and that's perfectly fine. But as a parent, if you are getting that call, please reach out to your student, or that text. Please reach out to your student, let them know that they need to reach our office. There's an issue with their application.
And they can check their registration if they are registered in the city of Williamsburg, even as an out-of-state student on the citizen portal. They don't need that driver's license to actually check that they're registered, if I'm not mistaken, Tina. So yeah, the Department of Elections website is elections.virginia.gov. and the citizen portal can be accessed by everyone who is checking their registration for the city of Williamsburg. If you happen to be in out of our locality voter, like James City County or York County, you are going to have to designate that James City or York County, because if you put Williamsburg City, it's going to say that you're not found. So it is locality based yet again, and having that correct information will determine if you're found in the system. But you have any questions? I've given a lot of students my phone number as far as to text. We have the ability to have a text message based system. So I know that that's the most common form of communication nowadays, and that is quite all right, because I will definitely answer a text message as well. So let me know.
And for students out of state, we also have tools for students to check on our website. Or it's just go to the William Mary website and search voter engagement. And we have tools for out of state and actually other localities in the state as well, for anyone to check their voter registration across the country.
Mm-hmm.
We do. There are lots of robust resources for students and really anyone who's interested in learning about their voting options. It's a really great resource, not just for our students, but for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. I know one thing we talked about earlier was just encouraging students to have a plan and to talk about that plan, to ask questions about it. But if you could leave one piece of advice with families tonight as they get ready to have conversations with their student over fall break, what's one big piece of advice you would give to them on this topic?
Register as soon as possible.
I would have to say just vote. It's not a matter of who you voted for, because we all have a difference of opinions, but simply vote. Your voice needs to be heard, and the way that it's done is by voting.
Bravo. Be engaged.
Yes.
This is your chance. This is your generation. This is your time. Be engaged. Vote.
Just vote. Registration is not complicated. It's not complicated to do any of this. Just get yourself ready. So voting will be easy.
Yeah, I echo the same thing. Use your power to vote. Learn where you're going to vote. I think that's important too. If you're voting for the first time, sometimes there are different locations. Like if you're on William and Mary and you're going to be voting locally, there are 2 locations to vote. So you need to find out which one you're voting for. So I think that's an important piece, but also back home. And if you choose to vote early, you may be voting at a different location than where you'd be voting on election day. So I think that's another important piece. Sam, I'd say we go to the student to wrap it up on that question.
Well, I mean, yeah, vote and don't be afraid to ask for help. There are so many resources. There are so many people on campus and off campus who want to help. There's just so many options out there.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for that wonderful information, and for showcasing the many, many things that you've been doing to help our community get engaged this election season. Thank you for dealing with us through technical difficulties. We made it in the end. And so thank you to Haley, Denise, Marianne, Tina, Rich, and Sam. This has been a wonderful conversation. Families, thank you for joining us this evening. The recording will be posted here in just a couple days. But thanks again, and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Thank you.